Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my channel? Thank you so much. During the 4 years I was married to Gordon, I underwent 26 IVF treatments because he wanted children, but all of them failed. I gained weight rapidly, going from 95 pounds to 156 pounds, and had to quit modeling. Everyone thought Gordon would eventually kick me out, but he said the only thing between us was widowhood. Gordon broke with his parents to marry me. He hadn't yielded even when his father broke his leg and locked him in the house. Afterward, he started a new business and struggled for 3 years before finally breaking into his old circle. The year Gordon's company went public, he not only took me on 99 honeymoon trips around the world, but also transferred all his assets to my name. But lately, he's been increasingly away from home. Today, he wanted to talk to his childhood sweetheart, Kitty, about a collaboration. There have been rumors circulating lately that they have an illegitimate child. I asked Gordon about it, and he denied it. The thought that Gordon might have cheated on me still pierces my heart. Mom, don't be sad. Dad, that bad man isn't worth your sadness. You're pregnant now. You can't be upset. A soft, sweet little girl's voice suddenly floated into my mind. Am I going crazy wanting to get pregnant? Mom, you're really pregnant. I'm 4 months along, but you can't let Dad know you're pregnant, or I'll be treated like his illegitimate child's blood bag. Hearing my daughter's words, I froze on the spot as if struck by lightning. Mom, Dad, and Kitty have a child out of wedlock, and the child is 3 years old because that child was diagnosed with leukemia 2 years ago, and Kitty can no longer have children. Dad is desperately trying to get you pregnant so that your umbilical cord blood can save him. I finally understand why Gordon, who wanted to be childless, was so eager for me to get pregnant. Mom, in my past life, I was a match for Kitty's son, so I was taken for a blood test right after I was born. Afterwards, I died from excessive blood loss, and you were sent to a mental hospital by Dad for hurting Kitty while trying to avenge me. Given a second chance, we can't let them harm us again, so you absolutely mustn't let them find out you're pregnant. I stroked my belly and choked out, "Baby, don't worry. Mommy will protect you." Looking at the honeymoon photo of Gordon and me on the table, I couldn't believe that the man who had saved me from danger would use my child as a blood transfusion. The beautiful memories of the past turned into sharp blades, relentlessly torturing my heart. Mom, actually you're not. My daughter's words were interrupted by Gordon's voice. Jessica, I'm home. I turned to look at the entryway, instinctively taking a few steps back because of my daughter's earlier words. Seeing Kitty following behind Gordon, my body trembled uncontrollably. Mommy, don't be afraid. I'll protect you. Don't argue with Daddy. Otherwise, he'll only favor Kitty more because of her tears. With my daughter's comfort, I pinched my palms to force myself to calm down. Were you spacing out? We live close to the hospital, so Kitty and Saxon are moving in for a while. It's inconvenient for Kitty to hold the baby, so you should come over and move the baby's things to the master bedroom. Gordon looked at me with displeasure. Oh, I can't trouble Jessica with these things. I could do it myself. But Jessica, you really should exercise more, Kitty said, subtly mocking my figure. Mom, don't fall for it. You're 176 centimeters tall, and, at most, you're just a little chubby. She's trying to provoke you into losing your composure in front of Dad, so you need to learn her trick of playing the victim. To break her spell, I went over and picked up the things piled on the floor. Following my daughter's instructions, I looked at Gordon with tears in my eyes. Gordon, it's all your fault for always buying me desserts. From now on, you're not allowed to feed me snacks anymore. Gordon pinched my cheek and laughed. Don't overthink it. You're just the right size to hug now. You were so skinny before, it was uncomfortable to hold you. Kitty's eyes looked like she wanted to kill me, so I decided to stop while I was ahead, picked up my things, and left. As we passed Saxon, I noticed he looked remarkably like Gordon. Daddy, this fat Annie pinched me. The little boy suddenly burst into tears, seeing the obvious pinch marks on his legs. Gordon shoved me against the wall. Jessica, how could you be so cruel? Saxon is only 3 years old. I leaned against the wall, wincing in pain, with a strong feeling of heaviness in my lower abdomen. Mom, I'm okay. I never thought Kitty would be so heartless as to pinch her own son to frame you. Let's stay away from this crazy woman. Hearing that my daughter was all right, I struggled to stand up, leaning against the wall. Gordon, I didn't pinch him. I protested. Jessica, Saxon is so young. How could he lie? Kitty retorted, frowning. I knew I couldn't confront Kitty directly, so I continued to adopt a humble stance. I raised the thing I had been carrying and argued tearfully. I don't have a third hand. How could I possibly pinch him? Kitty and Gordon were both taken aback when they saw my hands were full of things. Mommy, I'm sleepy, Saxon said. Helping his mother out of the predicament, Kitty readily agreed and carried the children into the master bedroom. Gordon came over and gently rubbed my shoulder, looking at me apologetically. Jessica, I was wrong just now. I shouldn't have gotten angry at you without understanding the situation. Looking at the complex emotions swirling in his eyes, I realized he still seemed to care about me, but I didn't know how much of his feelings remained. I'm fine, but I'm a little tired. I'm going to rest now, I said, handing the things I was carrying to Gordon before turning and walking into the guest room. Since the guest room didn't have a bathroom, I had to shower in the public bathroom. While I was drying my hair in the living room, Kitty looked me up and down at the stretch marks on my legs and mocked. Jessica, you used to be a model. You look so sloppy now. Woman's skin is the most precious thing. I was so afraid of getting stretch marks when I was pregnant, but thankfully, Gordon kept applying stretch mark oil for me. Hearing Kitty say this, the image of Gordon applying stretch mark oil for her involuntarily flashed through my mind. The pain in my heart and the nausea rising in my stomach mingled together. I gripped the hair dryer tightly, took a deep breath, and pretended not to hear. The more Kitty tried to provoke me, the less I fell for it. Jessica, do you know why you're so fat? Because I've been having people put steroids in your food, and that's why you've gained weight from the hormones. I advise you to get out of here, or I have plenty of ways to get back at you. Kitty's words ignited a strong hatred within me, and I raised my hand to slap her hard. But through the mirror, I saw Gordon walk out of the master bedroom. I put my hands down, quickly composed myself, and thought through the saddest things I'd ever done. Kitty, I really love Gordon. I can't live without him. Tears cleverly clung to my eyelashes as I used a technique I'd learned in acting class to put on a pitiful look. Please don't take him away from me. Overcome with emotion, I clutched my chest, pretending to have a heart attack. Gordon rushed over and hugged me tightly, his expression urgent as he stroked my face. Where's your medicine? I pointed tremblingly to the small jade gourd on the necklace. The jade gourd was handmade by Gordon. It was a gift he gave me as a token of our love. For years, I've carried it with me, along with my nitroglycerin pills. You know, Jessica has a heart condition. Why did you provoke her? Gordon stared sharply at Kitty. Kitty, if you can't get along with Jessica, you might as well stay in a hotel. Kitty's eyes immediately welled up with tears. Gordon, I didn't upset her. I just chatted with her for a bit, Seeing that Kitty was about to bring up her relationship with Gordon again, I immediately interrupted her spellcasting. I leaned against Gordon, clutching his clothes tightly, and said weakly, Gordon, my heart hurts so much. Please carry me back to rest. Gordon patted my head and said softly, Hold on tight to my neck. Not long after returning to the guest room, Gordon was called away by Kitty again. I took the opportunity to stroke my belly and chat with my daughter. Sweetie, are you all right? Mommy, I'm fine. Your acting was amazing. Just hearing her voice made my heart ache. Knowing there's a family history of heart disease, I asked nervously, Honey, is your heart okay? I was so careless. I didn't even realize I was pregnant. I'll go for a prenatal checkup as soon as possible. Mom, my heart is healthy. Don't worry, but you need to move the medicine somewhere else. In my past life, Kitty switched the medicine in the jade gourd, and you almost lost both you and your unborn child. I remembered my daughter's words and began to think about where to move the medicine to ensure it would be safe. Kitty's crying suddenly came from outside the door. Gordon, why are you always blaming me for her today? Don't you know how much I love you? How much I love Saxon? Kitty, I'm already married. A series of intense kissing sounds reached my ears. The woman's moans and the man's heavy breathing grew increasingly unrestrained. I quickly wrapped the blanket around my stomach, not wanting their sounds to offend my daughter's ears. I don't know how much time passed before their noise outside finally subsided. Before Gordon went inside, Kitty said reluctantly, "If it weren't for saving Saxon, I really wouldn't want you to touch that fat woman." I angrily punched the pillow. I don't want a rotten cucumber like Gordon. I stared at myself in the mirror, a surge of hatred welling up inside me. If it weren't for Kitty and Gordon, I wouldn't have become like this. Mom, you're the most beautiful in my eyes. Mom looks good no matter what. My daughter's heartwarming words of comfort made me burst into tears. As I wiped away my tears, Gordon walked in. Seeing me crying again, he immediately pulled me onto his lap. "Why do you start shedding your little pearls the moment I'm not around?" He not only wiped my tears with his fingertips, but also gently kissed my swollen eyes. Remembering what he had just done with Kitty, I quietly pushed him away. Gordon reached out and pulled me into his arms again, his arms around my waist as he whispered in my ear, "Jessica, your ovulation period must be here. I got my period this afternoon, so we can't do it today." I pushed Gordon away again. Gordon stared at my face inquisitively for a long time. He pinched my cheek and said, "Are you unhappy that I let Kitty stay at our house?" "How could I be? I know you're good friends," I replied against my will. "You used to get upset whenever I mentioned Kitty. Why are you being so magnanimous today?" I used to argue with him because of Kitty because I loved him, and I would get jealous because of their ambiguous interactions. Now I've given up on him, so of course I don't care about what happens between them. I was being too petty in the past. Besides, Kitty and her mother aren't having an easy time either. Gordon's face immediately darkened when he heard my words. Although we both knew who Saxon's father was, he wouldn't take the initiative to admit it in the current situation. "Look how cute Saxon is. You should hurry up and have a baby for me too. Whether it's a boy or a girl, I'll spoil him rotten." Gordon stroked my belly, his tone very gentle. "Dad is a big liar. He doesn't like me at all. He only has eyes for that Saxon. He just lets the doctor prick me with needles, and it hurts so much." Hearing my daughter's choked voice, my heart ached. I silently comforted her in my heart. "Sweetie, Mommy loves you. Mommy will give you lots and lots of love. Sweetie, don't cry. Mommy will definitely take you away from here." Feeling my daughter clinging tightly to me, I silently plotted how to quietly leave Gordon. When I woke up again in the morning, Gordon was nowhere to be seen. The first thing I saw on my phone was a photo. Kitty had sent a picture of herself lounging on our bed wearing my nightgown. "Oh dear, I came in a rush and didn't bring any clothes. Gordon asked me to wear yours. You don't mind, right?" I gripped my phone tightly and didn't reply. Kitty continued to provoke me. This time, she sent a picture of herself lying on top of Gordon. "The sheets you bought were really comfortable. It's a shame we got them dirty." I was so angry at their shamelessness that I started taking deep breaths. "Mom, don't be angry. Watch your heart." I suppressed my anger and saved what Kitty sent me on my phone. After lunch, Gordon and Kitty played with Saxon's toy cars in the living room. Seeing the happy family of three, I went to the yard to consult with my lawyer about the divorce. While I was focused on my conversation, Saxon drove his toy car high speed from behind and crashed into me. "Mom, watch out." I tried my best to dodge, but I still lost my balance and fell into the pool. "You bad woman. You tried to steal my dad." Saxon looked at me with a venomous gaze. His expression was nothing like a child's. After saying that, he drove back to the living room. The icy pool water instantly rushed into my mouth and nose, and because I can't swim, I quickly sank to the bottom. As my consciousness faded, I heard Gordon scream, "Jessica." When I woke up again, I saw Gordon holding my hand, his eyes red and swollen. "You scare me to death." His voice trembled. "I thought I was going to lose you, but it's a blessing in disguise. The doctor said you're pregnant." Gordon's face lit up with joy. I was stunned for a moment before I realized what was happening. "Oh no, Gordon knows I'm pregnant. Hurry up and apologize to your aunt." Gordon patted Saxon, who was standing to the side. Saxon was very reluctant. He hesitated for a long time before finally looking up at me. "Aunt Fatty, I'm sorry." His tone was still dismissive. "Saxon, how could you be so rude?" Gordon raised his hand and slapped his bottom. Saxon immediately burst into tears. I looked at the noisy scene before me and remembered how my daughter had died because of this wicked child. I grabbed a pillow and threw it at Gordon, yelling in a breakdown, "Get out." I don't want to see you. Jessica, he's just a child, Gordon said, shielding Saxon behind him. If you don't leave, I will. I angrily pulled the 4 out of my hand. Gordon, not wanting to upset me any further, left the ward with Saxon. Sweetie, are you all right? I gently touched my belly. After waiting for a long time, without a response, my heart began to race again. Sweetie? Still silence. Worried that something might have happened to my daughter, I ran out of bed to find the doctor. After a checkup, the doctor told me that the baby was fine, developing normally, and very healthy. Sweetie, I gently patted my belly again, but still didn't hear a response from my daughter. Jessica, our baby is so adorable. Gordon grinned foolishly, staring at the medical report in his hand. Looking at his smile, I felt a chill in my heart. My mind was filled with my daughter's accusations against him. Gordon, let's get a divorce. Gordon looked at me in disbelief. Jessica, what nonsense are you talking about? You're pregnant with my child. Gordon, you've cheated on me, so I'm getting a divorce for my daughter's safety. I decided to break ties with him. Kitty's child was conceived through IVF. I didn't touch her, Gordon explained anxiously, grabbing my hand. We're just friends. I only helped Saxon because she was sick. From beginning to end, you've been the only one I've ever loved. He gazed at me intently, his fingers tracing the wedding ring on my hand. I shook off his hand and took off the ring he had designed himself. I threw the bed photo Kitty had sent me at him. Upon seeing the photos, Gordon's eyes darted away and his voice weakened. That day, she asked me to come over and help her with the kids. I really didn't touch her. Enough nonsense. There's no room for negotiation on divorce. My patience has completely run out. I don't agree to a divorce, Jessica. We agreed there would only be widowhood. Gordon gripped my hand tightly, his eyes filled with obsession. To avoid divorcing me, he had imprisoned me in the house. Now, to win me back, Gordon stays by my side 24/7. Not only that, he also confiscated all my communication devices. He even had the audacity to claim that the radiation from cell phones and computers was bad for the baby. Now I can't see or contact anyone except him. I'm furious about this, but because of that marriage certificate, I'm bound to him. Worried that my constant gloom would be bad for the baby, Gordon bought a whole bunch of baby supplies and delivered them to our home. Jessica, do you think the baby is a boy or a girl? He smiled as he held up a pink baby outfit and said, I think it's a girl. She'll definitely grow up to be as beautiful as you. Seeing that he guessed the baby's gender correctly, I cautiously probed him. Why did you think it was a girl? Gordon grabbed my hand and answered enthusiastically, because I dreamed about a little girl who looked a lot like you, but was even fiercer than you. She berated me in my dream and warned me not to bully you. Hearing that he had dreamed about his daughter, I anxiously pressed, what else did she say? I haven't heard from my daughter for half a month. Although my prenatal checkups were normal, I'm still worried. Gordon's expression suddenly became complicated. He avoided my question, got up, and pulled me into the nursery. I've almost finished preparing everything. See if there's anything else we need. The nursery was decorated mainly in pink and blue and was filled with toys and baby supplies that Gordon had prepared. Looking at the star pendant he had made himself hanging from the crib, my feelings were complicated. Noticing my low spirits, Gordon put his arm around my waist and kissed the top of my head. Jessica, I know I didn't behave well before. I've deleted all contact information with Kitty. I won't make you sad again. Trust me one more time. Gordon kept my face high. His eyes were burning as he gazed at me. His eyes reminded me of him when we were deeply in love, but everything was ultimately irreversible. I'm tired. I shook off his hand and ran out of the nursery. In the days that followed, Gordon put aside his work and took care of me meticulously at home. He not only learned to make all kinds of nutritious meals, but also took massage lessons from teacher. In daily life, he prepared one romantic surprise after another. Flowers, gifts, candlelight dinners, handwritten love letters, and declarations of love on giant screens all over the city. Gordon's enthusiasm now surpasses even when he was pursuing me. I remain unmoved because, for me, a broken mirror can never be mended. While Gordon was busy, I secretly contacted my divorce lawyer, but to my surprise, Kitty arrived before the lawyer. Gordon was out at work today due to an urgent matter. I had planned to take this opportunity to leave, but Kitty showed up unexpectedly. Several burly men followed behind her. They looked quite fierce. Jessica, I didn't expect this fat woman to be so good at seducing men. Since you can't live without men, then I'll let these men satisfy you properly today. I shielded my stomach and kept backing away. When I got to the telephone in the living room, I found that Gordon had cut the phone line. Gordon, you jinx. I couldn't help but curse inwardly. Kitty came over and grabbed my hair, looking at me with a sinister glint in her eyes. If it weren't for the child in your belly needing to save my life, I would kill you right now. How could you, a lowly woman from an orphanage, be worthy of Gordon? She said, slapping me as she spoke. I pushed her away with all my might, and she ripped the jade cord off my neck. Kitty gripped my neck, tightening her grip fiercely. Once this bastard in your belly is born, I'll send you both on your way. I lowered my head in hatred and bit her arm hard, but Kitty pulled away in pain. Jessica, you're asking for it. I collapsed to the ground, clutching my shirt and gasping for breath. The intense fighting had thrown my heart into turmoil. Hiss! I was gasping for air. Each heartbeat was accompanied by a tearing pain. Oh, having an attack. Kitty dangled the jade gourd in front of me like she was teasing a dog. I collapsed to the ground in pain, too weak to fight back. Jessica, good luck. Kitty laughed and left. My vision blurred as I lay on the ground. Mom, hold on. Annie's coming soon, my darling. Hearing my daughter's voice, I forced myself to sit up. Mommy, I'm sorry I'm late. My hands trembled as I took off my watch and retrieved the nitroglycerin pills I had hidden earlier. Because of my daughter's earlier warning, I was prepared. My actions just now were also meant to get Kitty to leave quickly. I leaned against the wall, stroking my belly, and said haltingly, Baby, it's so good to have you back. I missed you so much these past few days. Mom, don't say anything yet, just rest. A little while later, I saw a woman rush in. Jessica, don't be afraid. Your sister is here. My sister hugged me tightly, sobbing as she comforted me. I stared blankly at the woman in front of me, who looked so much like my mom. This is your sister, Winnie. I've been contacting Annie these past few days. Auntie is amazing. She'll protect us. Hearing my daughter's words, all the pent-up frustration, fear, and pain I had been holding exploded. At that moment, I hugged my sister's waist and sobbed uncontrollably. Sister, it hurts so much. Take me away. After saying those words, I couldn't hold on any longer and fainted. My sister took me to her home. Although we had been separated since childhood, I felt a natural closeness to her. My sister stroked my face, her eyes filled with heartache. Jessica, don't worry. With me here, no one will dare to bully you anymore. Mom, Annie is amazing. She's the chairperson of a multinational corporation. The investor Dad's been talking to lately is Andy. Holding my sister's hand, I asked curiously, How did you find me? My mother passed away when I was very young, and she had never mentioned my sister. My sister stared at my belly and laughed, saying, The little one in your belly told me that she's been haunting me in my dreams for a long time. If she hadn't told me so many stories about us when we were little, I really wouldn't have believed what she said. My daughter whispered a complaint in my belly. Mommy, Auntie is a staunch materialist, so this trip has really exhausted me. I smiled and rubbed my belly, comforting my sweet baby. Jessica, I'll handle Kitty and Gordon's situation. You just need to focus on your pregnancy now. I nodded to my sister. She was very decisive and efficient. In less than a week, Kitty's family went bankrupt, and Kitty was taken to the police station by my sister. Because I'm a major shareholder in Borden's company, my sister didn't take drastic measures against the company itself. She only caused some trouble for Gordon personally. We thought this would make Gordon agree to divorce me, but he's more difficult than we expected. Gordon has been meowing at the door for days, and his parents have been calling to plead for him. I've hired a lawyer to talk to him about the divorce, but he insists on seeing you. The sister's expression was one of helplessness and annoyance. I saw Gordon kneeling outside through the glass window. He had lost a lot of weight, looked haggard, and his unshaven beard was quite an eyesore. I genuinely didn't want to deal with him anymore, but I knew he wouldn't give up unless I intervened personally. When Gordon saw me, he scrambled over to my side, crying and apologizing. "Jessica, don't leave me. I know I didn't protect you well again, but I really can't live without you. Please give me one last chance, okay?" Gordon hugged my legs, his face covered in tears and snot. I handed him the divorce papers my sister had prepared. "If you really love me, sign them," I said, my heart sinking. Gordon shook his head, refusing. "I won't sign. I don't want a divorce, Jessica. We have a baby. Do you want her to grow up without a father?" I pushed him away and coldly replied, "Do you know how much she hates you?" Gordon's face turned even paler. "Baby, I know I've hurt you and Mommy. Please give me another chance. This time, Daddy will definitely protect you." Gordon cried his heart out, clutching my stomach. I shook him off in annoyance. "Gordon, why bother?" Gordon pulled out a fruit knife and stabbed himself hard in the thigh. "Jessica, I know I owe you and the baby a lot, and I will make it up to you." He forced a smile through the excruciating pain. "Gordon, I don't want anything. I just want freedom." Gordon's smile froze on his face. His eyes instantly dimmed, and he stared blankly at me. The negotiations failed, and I returned to the room where Gordon had collapsed from blood loss. My sister had him taken to the hospital and warned the Pei family to keep a close eye on him or they would face bankruptcy like the Yu family. I looked at my sister wearily and said, "Sister, let the lawyer sue him, okay? I'll find you the best divorce lawyer." My sister hugged me to comfort me. "Jessica, come abroad with me." I was taken aback by my sister's suggestion. "You don't need to give me an answer right away." My sister patted my shoulder. After my sister left, I stroked my belly and whispered, "Sweetie, how about we go abroad and live with Andy, okay? Andy's house is so beautiful, and she has a Sammy-ad that's so cute." Hearing my daughter's excited voice, I made a decision instantly. While my sister was handling the paperwork for me, Gordon knelt at our door every day, begging to see her. No matter where my sister moved us to, he could find us. That night, it was pouring rain outside, and Gordon was still kneeling in the downpour. Looking at him, I couldn't help but think of the rainy night when we first met that year. My agent tricked me into sleeping with an investor, and Gordon braved a torrential downpour to rescue me. He offended many people, and his business suffered because of this. It was because of this incident that I accepted his advances and started a relationship with him back then. I could never have imagined that we would end up like this. Mom, I actually lied to you before. In my past life, Dad and Kitty weren't on the same side. He didn't want to use umbilical cord blood to save Saxon, but he didn't intend to kill me. Kitty stole me to draw blood. He sent you to a mental hospital to avoid trouble. Kitty secretly had the doctors torture you until you went insane because he failed to protect you. I don't want you two to stay together for the rest of your lives. I gently patted my belly and whispered, "Sweetie, you did the right thing. I decided to get a divorce because I no longer have feelings for your father, and he really did do a lot of wrong things. Let's not think about him anymore. Mommy can take care of you all by herself. Mom, you're all I need." A few days before we left the country, I heard that Saxon's condition suddenly worsened. Because a suitable bone marrow match couldn't be found, he died after 3 days. The intensive care unit. After Saxon's death, Kitty attempted to kill him several times in the detention center. My sister was worried that things might get complicated if she waited too long, so she decided to take us abroad ahead of schedule. On the day we headed to the airport, Gordon chased after us relentlessly in his car. I never expected him to have bought tickets for the same flight as us. He had already signed the divorce papers. So why was he still pursuing us so relentlessly? "Jessica, I'm willing to give up everything and go abroad with you. Please give me a chance to atone for my sins." He knelt on the ground and begged me desperately. Because of his actions, people in the airport began to gather around. I tugged at his sleeve and whispered through gritted teeth, "Gordon, you really have no shame now." "Jessica, I'll do anything as long as you come back to me," Gordon said, looking at me earnestly. "Gordon, I spared your life for Jessica and the children. Don't push your luck. I have a lot of dirt on you." The sister pulled Gordon up from the ground. While her sister and Gordon were struggling, Kitty suddenly emerged from the crowd. She pulled the hairpin from her hair and charged at me like a madwoman. Jessica, I want you to pay for my son's life. She glared at me with bloodshot eyes. Before Kitty could reach me, Gordon stood firmly in front of me. The hairpin in Kitty's hand plunged deep into his abdomen. Blood instantly stained his clothes. People around screamed and scattered. Kitty was quickly subdued by airport security. I watched the blood gush out, then took off my scarf and pressed it against Gordon's wound. Jessica, I protected you this time, Gordon said, grabbing my hand, a smile appearing on his pale face. Gordon, shut up. He couldn't die saving me. I didn't want to owe him anything. Even after the ambulance arrived, Gordon still held onto my hand tightly. He pulled the wedding ring I'd thrown away from his pocket and put it back on my ring finger. Jessica, I'll come find you. Please wait for me. After Gordon was taken away, I immediately ran into the bathroom to wash the blood off my hands. Looking at the blood-stained ring on my hand, I took it off and threw it into the trash can next to me. Jessica, are you okay? My sister asked, looking at me with concern. I didn't expect Kitty to be released on medical parole. I won't let her escape again this time. I'm fine, sister. Let's go. I grabbed my suitcase and walked towards the boarding gate without hesitation. After my sister and I settled down abroad, we tacitly stopped talking about the past. A few months later, I gave birth to a little girl. She was incredibly cute with her chubby pink cheeks, and she especially loved to look at you with her big, adorable eyes. Every time I see her smile at me, I feel my heart melt. This little one is obedient, but she's also very clingy and can only fall asleep when held by an adult. My sister and I have both gotten dark circles under our eyes from trying to soothe her. That day, as my daughter as I was taking a nap in her cradle, my sister looked at me, hesitant to speak. As I rocked the cradle, I whispered, "Sister, I've heard about what happened to Gordon. A week ago, Gordon was in a car accident on his way to the airport. He survived, but he is now paralyzed from the neck down. I received a letter from him yesterday, but I didn't read it and just threw it into the shredder. Sister, I don't want anything to do with him anymore. My daughter is enough for me now." My sister understood, and she poked our daughter's cheek with her finger. "Have you thought of a name for her?" "Lucky. I hope everything will go well for my daughter and me in the future."